Yo, what your boy Sin is. Here with a video about Alex Honnold's free solo climb as well as his Taipei 101 climb. I just want to look at some of these climbing scenes from the free solo documentary. If you haven't seen that yet, please go watch it. It's great. Um, but yeah, I just want to kind of go over some of this because I think it's really interesting, to say the least. And just honestly, it's one of the greatest feats in human history, athletic athletic wise. It's just so impressive. And what makes this so impressive is that what this is it's a vertical granite slab in Yosemite National Park called El Capitan. And what makes this climb specific so insane and so impressive is the fact that he did what's called free solo, hence the name, free solo documentary. But it just means you go up there with no gear, so you're just literally climbing with nothing but chalk. I don't know if you just saw that, but free blast slab. Yeah, this part isn't insane, right? He has a good amount of stuff to grip onto. Um, and what makes this part also not as hard is the fact that, like I said, he has a lot to grip onto, but there's also a lot of spots for his foot to get friction. And when his feet can get friction, it helps provide maximum amount of grip. Instead of just relying on nothing but fingertips and grip strength, you can use the mountain to your advantage. Instead of you know, if this is the mountain and this is your foot, you're going to push your foot in as hard as possible and down in a way so that when you're pushing your foot into the wall and down, you can get a little bit of friction, which helps you grip the mountain. This part, I mean, isn't insane. Also, this part, it looks like he's really high up, but towards the beginning, it wasn't insanely high, so it wasn't necessarily fatal. At this point, yeah, it's definitely fatal. This isn't going to show a ton, but you need to go watch the documentary to see all of it. This part's insane. I mean, imagine gripping. Wait, imagine just like holding on to the side, right? You're not even like climbing up and down at that point. You're just gripping and holding on sideways. And this part of the mountain, Hollow Flake, is not even fully connected. It's literally just, I keep calling it a mountain. It's more of I mean, it's called a granite slab, but I think of it more of a cliff in a way. But it's not even fully connected, so you're, gripping on the not much. And all this is coming from me sitting in my room and never done anything like this, so take my words with a grain of salt, obviously. Not claiming to be an expert. This honestly looks like, I want to say it's probably not as hard in this spot. I have no idea if it is or isn't, but at least you have like something to push off against. So like you can kind of wedge yourself, and I think you're less likely to fall, but it's so much more uncomfortable just like squeezing your way up. Look how high that is before I move on. Um, it doesn't show it here, but in the documentary, um, it explains that Alex was actually pretty like obviously he was confident in doing it, but he was more nervous when his camera crew was watching him, right? So leading up to the day he actually climbed it, when he's telling his camera crew like, "Hey, I don't want you guys watching. I don't want you guys being there because I'm gonna get nervous, and if he falls, whatever, he doesn't want them there." So leading up to the climb, every day he's just like, "Tomorrow might be the day. Tomorrow might be the day." And he actually ended up telling his girlfriend like, "Hey, I need you to also leave because you're making me nervous being here." But eventually the day came. He went up, he woke up, got ready, went, started scaling it, and his camera crew had to be ready, and they were ready. But they're so far back because they don't want him seeing that they're there. This part's insane. He's gonna have to swing a leg across this like crazy gap. Look at that. I know I keep pausing it, but this part right here where the boulder problem, I'm not sure why it's called the boulder problem, but he had to swing his leg across, obviously. What it doesn't show here is that there's actually another alternative path he could have taken, where I'm not sure where exactly he came up, but he came up somewhere, right? But he could have gone up this way. The thing about that is that both these options weren't great, right? You have this option where you're either swinging your leg across, trying to get grip, or you go, you know, this way, and I believe this other option, he would have to like have crazy finger grip strength or something. He chose this option, which I think is terrifying. You're straddling nothing. Literally straddling nothing. Beautiful though. I mean, the view has to be insane. That in Yosemite National Park, you're however many feet slash meters high. I'm sure he's not turning around to look at you too often now. What the fuck is that? I think he's mostly through the hard part. The hard part was that boulder problem. That was one of the hard parts. I think there's one more after that, but it looks like he's already gonna hit through those 2 points. Potentially, I can't quite remember. It's been a little bit since I watched the documentary. There's so many gaps where he's literally just sticking his hand in his crevice and trying to grip it. And half his forearm is in there. Look at that. Dude has his entire forearm jammed into a crevice for grip. That honestly would be better though than trying to use your fingertips. I always think it's impressive when like, um, is it called bouldering where you're like kind of hanging upside down and whatnot? I did rock climbing for a little bit, so again, like I said, I'm not an expert, but like I somewhat know what this is. I did it for like 2 years, and then I just kind of, I don't know, I stopped doing it. Fun to do, I'd love to do it again, but yeah, pretty sure bouldering is when you're free soloing, but it's where you're actually like kind of gripping on nothing but like actual rock and almost hanging upside down. It's part of the guitar. Some of these spots I know aren't easy, but they look like for him they would be easy. Like that, it looks like it would be a lot of grip. It's crazy how much strength you need just in your entire body. Just like that, you did it. This literally is like one of the greatest human athletic performances in history. And he's the only person who's ever done this. He's literally the first and only person to have ever free soloed El Capitan. People have tried it and died, but to actually do it is insane. Drop off. and then shoot, and then I'm pretty sure he literally just walked and hiked down. He said, I believe, I don't know where I heard this. It was either in this documentary or another one of his videos or something. For all these climbs, he'll climb it, free solo or whatever. Sometimes he'll bring gear with him, like he'll bring a rope and try to rappel back down, or he will, I mean, trying to, like, obviously climbing that backwards would be ridiculous. But most of the time he says he just climbs it and then will walk around back because, like, there's usually a hiking trail. I'm sure there's a hiking trail that isn't visible that goes around back. I believe he said it took him 15 years, maybe 10 years. Yeah, like I said, not only that, but or it took him like 15 years, and that's not because um he was just training for 15 years. I mean, he was, but he had to mentally prepare, he had to mentally map this out. He was he had to go to a bunch of other places and like practice on that to build the strength he needed for this specific climb. So he's doing this for years. He's mentally mapping it out. In the documentary, you can see he's like journaling different stuff on like, you know, I need to do work on this. I need to work on that. And sorry, and he's doing all this for years. And then like I said, 1 to 2 years before he actually climbed it, he um yeah, but I mean, that was not a great example, but it it took him about 15 years. It said 1 to 2 years, but it took him about 15 years because for the first few years, he's just mentally mapping it out. He's like, all right, I gotta, mentally prepare for this. I gotta mentally tell myself how I'm gonna, he's like, on top of that, he's journaling, like, how is this, placement gonna feel on my foot? How is this gonna feel on my hand? How is this gonna feel on my body? So he's doing that in his head, but also like journaling it, and then he's going to different places around the world. He's trying to better his strength. He's trying to better his body for this climate specific. And he started this, I think, in probably early 2000s, I think, around that time. And yeah, he's just training for that. And then, like I said, 1 to 2 years of intense training on this actual cliff itself, El Capitan. He was doing that with ropes. He was doing that free solo as well, but also just with or without ropes. Specific spots he'd go up and he'd practice one spot, do that for a while, and he'd do it with no harness or no gear, and then go to a different spot, practice it with gear, do it for a while, do it with no gear, and this whole time he's working his way up, he's mentally preparing, and then towards the end, he's starting to free solo it, but just like bits and pieces. So he might do like he did like a chunk of the cliff, and then he'd do another chunk, and he'd climb back down, and eventually he felt prepared enough to just go through it or go through with it. I just want to pull up this though, because this was recent. Oh, sorry, you can't see. This was recently. This is his Taipei 101 climb. This is a 100-story building, 101-story building, and this building actually for him isn't that bad. I know it sounds crazy to climb a 100-story building, but it's almost like a ladder to him. And like you'll hear a bunch of other like professional climbers, the grand masters of the sport, whatever you call them. They'll tell you like, yeah, it's like I could also do that, but I'm not me, but like these other climbers, like, yeah, I could also do that. It's just you need permits, you need funding, you need all sorts of stuff to be able to do this legally. Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure that was one of the tallest buildings in the world. A very good way to see this. Um, yeah, to pay 101. It's eighth tallest. Wow. But like, yeah, you can kind of see here. It's just like climb, ledge, climb, ledge, climb, ledge. It's hard to tell. climb ledge. Looking at all these buildings, it's kind of the weird how many have, or the weird how many of them have just like a massive spire. Like a lot of them aren't insanely, I mean, obviously they're very tall, but like Burj Khalifa, like the top 30 stories are unusable. This one has a massive spire. This one has a massive spire. Taipei has a massive spire. These have spires. These have spires. It's like, is it really that tall if you're adding 20 stories worth of spire to it? But yeah, this was an incredible watch. The documentary, you got to see it. There's just so much, stuff that went into it, and it's really interesting. It's not crazy long, so if you're interested, go check it out. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, Hulu, maybe? Yeah, Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix. Hour 40. So it's not crazy. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one.